After spending the last week sniffing our own farts and enjoying the sweet, savory smell of victory after taking it to the Washington Commies last week, we turn our attention this week to an interdivisional opponent against Minnesota. We got a big game Sunday afternoon coming up against the Minnesota Fighting Chris O'Donnells. Kevin O'Connell's, not Chris O'Donnell's. Your mom would really love it if it was Chris O'Donnell.
Welcome to Detroit!
I am so hyped. Football is almost upon us, boys. Football weekend, it's almost here. I hate Tuesday through Thursday. I know Thursday night games, we get a little bit of teasing, a little bit of just little taste there, a little bit of an appetizer, if you will. But man, I just live for the weekend, boys. I love it when Sunday gets here and it's football time, man. I am so hyped. So let's dive into the matchup Sunday afternoon, where we square off against the Minnesota Vikings, taking our number 2 ranked. Look, you guys, we have the number 2 ranked offense in the NFL. We've just piled up points the past 2 weeks. Our running game has been absolutely electric, which bodes well for us in this matchup. But both of our games have been at home, so we're going to actually take, this show on the road and see just how well we are. I mean, this is going to be our first, I don't want to say real test, because every game is a real test. There's only 32 teams. It's not like you can take a day off. But we've seen what we had against Philadelphia and how Jalen Hurts just dismantled us. And Jalen Hurts is looking like that dude, man. He looked great against us, and Minnesota just played Philadelphia Monday night, which again bodes well for us because that gives us an extra day of preparation and gives them one less day to prepare and be maybe a little bit more dinged up. But Jalen Hurts looked good for the first 2 weeks. And then, we had our big win against Washington. Now, if at the end of the season, Washington is a bottom feeder team, and that's one of our few victories that we have, it's not going to look so great. I mean, if you really look at the statistics of it, Matt Stafford is really good against subpar teams, and he's awful against winning teams. So that's not something that we want, not a trope we want to fall back into. Remember, we're changing the culture here. This is a whole different regime, you know what I'm saying? But what I mean by our first real test is we're going on the road, and we're going on the road to a bitter divisional rival, hostile territory. I mean, it's loud in Minnesota, and look, guys, after Monday night, I've been saying it all week, Minnesota's going to be pissed, dude. Minnesota's going to be pissed. I had the luxury of watching Kirk Cousins play in college, okay, because he played just down the road here in East Lansing. And look, if there's one thing I know about Kirk Cousins, it's he doesn't like to be embarrassed more than once, consecutively. He looked awful. Minnesota looked awful Monday night against Philadelphia, and it was just a little bit more, even more insult to injury. It was that it was Darius Slay who kept picking off Kirk Cousins, and Slay, I mean, you guys know Slay used to play for us, so it's like a former divisional rival. And even more on that take, Kirk Cousins used to play in Washington, and Philadelphia was a divisional rival, so there's this weird underlying narrative about the whole thing. But Kirk Cousins is gonna play mad. He's gonna play mad, and Chris O'Donnell, Kevin O'Connell, is gonna draw up a scheme, I think, that's gonna just take advantage of our weak points, because our defense does have some weak points, you guys, and they can be taken advantage of it. I mean, Jalen Hurts did it in week 1. I expect Kirk Cousins to play more, like Carson Wentz, and not be so mobile. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a time in Kirk Cousins' career, college or professional, that we were like, well, you gotta look out for the wheels on Kirk Cousins there. Boy, he'll really burn you if you give him a lane. No, that's not Kirk Cousins. But what Kirk Cousins does have is probably the best wide receiver in the game with Justin Jefferson. And I'm a little concerned about just the whole narrative. Justin Jefferson is very, 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 very good. Our DBs aren't the best. We know this. We've talked about this. This should come as no shock to anybody. Our DBs aren't the best. Will Amani 2-4 play? If not, are you just going to put Okudah on him and shadow him with Okudah? Because that could, if that goes sideways, is that going to break Jeff Okudah, who's ascending? He's getting better, but you don't want to have 2 really good games and follow it up by having Justin Jefferson just absolutely dismantle him. But if Amani plays, can Amani, keep him locked down? I think Amani can slow him down, but with Justin Jefferson, you don't really stop Justin Jefferson you just kind of get in his way a little bit. And I'm like I said, they're going to be mad, dude. They're going to be really, really, really mad. And the big factor that I'm actually concerned about is if you look at the statistics over the first 2 weeks, Minnesota beat Green Bay, which I don't know, I don't think we've really seen enough out of Green Bay against quality opponents. Sunday, the Battle of the Bays, Tampa and Green Bay, that'll be a good measuring stick to see how, what does Green Bay have in it. If you look at the first 2 weeks, Dalvin Cook touched the ball very, very little. His usage was way down in comparison to where he's been the past few years. Now, maybe that's Kevin O'Connell, scheming to keep Dalvin Cook healthy, because Dalvin Cook kind of has that same DeAndre Swift thing. Maybe it's a second-round running back type deal, but DeAndre Swift and Dalvin Cook both have this issue where they can't stay on the field for the full season, and DeAndre Swift, I think it's because he's a little bit shifty. Dalvin Cook, it's because he just runs way too damn violently, man. And I love it. I love a physical running back, dude. I really do love it, but the problem is that when you run like Derrick Henry, if you're not Derrick Henry, you can't run like Derrick Henry, so you're not going to be able to sustain the workload of a Derrick Henry unless your name's Derrick Henry. And Dalvin Cook gets dinged up. That being said, Minnesota falls into the same category as Detroit, where they have a really strong 1-2 punch at running back with Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison. And if Alexander Mattison doesn't re-sign in Minnesota when his rookie contract's up, he's gonna get paid. He's gonna go get his bag somewhere, and he's gonna be probably a lead back somewhere. Him and like Tony Pollard, I think, kind of have the same ascension where it's like, okay, as soon as our record's done, we're gonna go get our bag elsewhere and be the man. But I'm expecting Minnesota in all aspects of the game offensively to just play mad, dude. They're gonna be trying to set the tone early and often because they have a lot to prove, man. I mean, this is Kevin O'Connell's first year. Hey, I said it right. This is gonna be Kevin O'Connell's first year, and this is a big game for them. This game essentially picks the leader of the division, because if we beat Minnesota beat Green Bay beat Chicago. Chicago's at the bottom of the barrel. If we beat Minnesota with Minnesota's victory over Green Bay, we'll technically be ahead of Green Bay interdivisionally until the season progresses. But it's a big game for us. It's also a big game for them. And I'm pretty sure you're going to see Dalvin Cook get unleashed because our defense is not very good against the run. I'm not saying we can't stop the run, guys. I'm just saying we have a porous defense, and that's what happens when you don't have a strong middle of your defense. I mean, and I don't mean middle like just defensive tackles. I mean right up the middle of your defense. I mean, Aleem McNeil's good. Isaiah Buggs is serviceable. Rodrigo's developing. Anzalone, you know what you got. And then we got our two thumper safeties. You know what I'm saying? So the middle of our defense isn't necessarily the strong point. We are a hyper-aggressive defense. AG has developed a defense that is suited to the modern NFL, where it's going to be a pass-heavy NFL, so he's developed a defense that is going to get after the quarterback, and that leaves us open and susceptible to run plays. I've talked about it a bunch, and I'm pretty sure that Kevin O'Connell is going to take advantage of our hyper-aggressive defense. He's going to, turn around, hand the ball off to Dalvin Cook a lot, and then they're going to go play action and blow us right over the top. They're going to take the top right off the defense. I bet Kirk Cousins hits on 150-yard touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson this week. I'd be willing to take that bet because they're gonna run, and then they're gonna pound us with play action. And Kirk Cousins is good out of play action. The other thing we need to remember is just because Minnesota had a bad performance. Look, Minnesota played bad Monday night. There is this thing, and it's called primetime Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins sucks in primetime, and this game isn't on primetime. So we'll see how it all shakes out. All right, enough talking about Minnesota. Let's talk about our team a little bit because our offense is really good. And I've said that our defense will let up points, so we're going to have to score. And I think our offense can do it because really, if you look at their defense, they're very similar to ours in that they're porous. They have just a leaky rush defense, which bodes well for us. I mean, we know DeAndre Swift is the number 2 running back in the NFC as far as yardage is concerned. So if DeAndre Swift has 2 fully inflated tires and can get his maximum workload, expect to see, as long as it's effective, lots of running game. Lots of Swifty getting shifty and lots of Jay Willie just smashing the rock. expect to see our offense do very similar to their offense. Jared Goff is one of the most elite play-action quarterbacks in the NFL. So when you have a run-first team, that sets up a beautiful play-action style for Jared Goff. What I would like to see out of Jared Goff is, first, there's three things I need to see out of Jared Goff as far as distribution is concerned. Number one, we need to keep Amon-Ra rolling, dude. Let's keep him rolling. Keep Amon-Ra rolling because Amon-Ra's that dude, yo. Let him get that record. Come on. Get Amon-Ra the record, dude. Let's go. So Amon-Ra, feed Amon-Ra. He's our legit number one wide receiver. Number two, I think this is the game that Jared Goff finally connects with DJ Shark as a deep threat on a play-action pass because we're going to be Swift, Williams, Williams, Swift, Williams, Reynolds, and then we're going to go play-action. And Jared Goff is an elite play-action passer. And DJ Shark has the wheels, and you've seen them try to go to Shark a couple of times early in games. He did get that touchdown against Darius Slay. But I think Jared Goff finally winds up and just hucks the deep one to DJ Shark, and DJ Shark blows past the coverage. The defense stumbles. I mean, Harrison Smith isn't as fast as he used to be. Their corners aren't necessarily the best. DJ Shark just a little and then he shakes the defender, and down the field he goes. Goff hits him. I'm hoping DJ Shark gets one nice 40-yard touchdown catch or something, because it's been there, and it's just Goff's missed them just a little bit, or the pass was just a little off, or Shark just kind of slipped a little bit. Either way, they've been real close, and we've all seen it in training camp and practice a lot, where they've been hitting on these just immaculate catches, dude. Just these beautiful fingertip diving back of the end zone style catches, and I think this is the week that they finally connect on one of those. And the final thing I need out of Jared Goff is, I know it's not Jared Goff's fault, because I was trying to make excuses. I've been trying to make excuses. I've made every excuse in the book. But Jared Goff is not the problem with TJ Hawkinson. TJ Hawkinson's been getting the volume. He's been averaging 7 targets a game. But you need to come down with at least 5 of those catches. And I think we are now to the point with TJ Hawkinson where his mind is broken. I think his brain is broken, and he's in his own head too much, and he's worried about, oh no. And then the simple plays become too hard for him to make. We've seen him make a couple of good plays, and defenses are kind of queuing in on him a little bit, because a lot of times when you see these missed passes to Hawk, it's either just Goff trying to put it in a spot where only Hawk can get it, or he's just swarmed by defenders. Now, there's been a few bad ones. Look, I'm not saying every single one is like that, but I would really love it if Detroit could come out and just build up the confidence of TJ Hawkinson. He was actually rated by Pro Football Focus as the number 32 ranked tight end in the league, which means among starting tight ends, you're the worst. You have a pretty high drop rate going on this year. And, TJ Hawkinson was a really good road grading, run blocker, and he's one of the worst in the league now. He's not a good road blocker or a run blocker. For only dropping 1 pass his senior year, Iowa, he's dropping passes left and right. So I think TJ Hawkinson he's in his own head, man, and I don't want that. I'd like to see TJ Hawkinson be wildly successful and have an illustrious career. It's just, dude, really, unless your name's Kyle Pitts, what's the point of taking a tight end in the first round? It never seems to work out for us. I mean, Kelsey was like a 2nd or 3rd round pick. Irv Smith was a 2nd round pick. Mark Andrews was a 2nd or 3rd round pick. Gesicki was a 3rd round pick. You never take tight ends in the first round. Kyle Pitts is a wide receiver in a tight end's body, and even then, the only reason he plays tight end is because he's got a little bit more bulk on him. He's got the athleticism to be split out wide, and if you really dive into the analytics of it, Kyle Pitts is more effective when he's split out wide and more efficient than when he is lined up as a tight end. But Hawk, if we could get a few plays, man, get him like 4 catches in the first half to just build that confidence up, man. Just real simple, we need TJ Hawkinson to right his ship. If not, maybe we roll with Brock Wright as our pass catching tight end, because he had that big 25-yard catch against Washington that just really, that's the type of stuff Hawk should be doing, not Brock Wright. But hey, if we can get Shark on a big pass, if we can continue to just utilize the crap out of Amon-Ra, and if Hawk can get a little bit of confidence built back up, then our passing game will be beautiful. Jared Goff should easily cruise to a pushing 300-yard day performance, couple 2 trade touchdowns, or it doesn't, or we come out and we try to run the ball and we go with nothing, and then we try to pass the ball and we get nothing, and Danielle Hunter decides that he's going to make Taylor Decker look like a fat bag of potatoes, and we just look like the same old Lions. Because let's be honest, guys, what we're really focusing on right now, can our defense hold up? Number one, can our defense hold up against the elite of the elite wide receiver? I'm not saying A.J. Brown isn't elite, but there is a tier difference between A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson. Okay, there is. And if you really want to try and argue with me that A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson are in the same tier of wide receiver, I got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. They're not. Justin Jefferson is the elite of the elite. A.J. Brown is hyper elite. Like there is a difference between the two. There is, and Justin Jefferson's gonna get us a few times. Okay, it's gonna happen. But can we overcome those times? Because this year we've seen a couple of things that have been good indicators that this is a different team, a different franchise, a different organization, different DNA than where we've been the past 20, 30 years. And what I'm worried about is that we're going to roll into this, and Minnesota's going to look at this as it's just the Lions. This is a get-right game. We just got our asses handed to us on Monday night, so let's make amends. Let's fix it. Let's get right, because this is how it's always been for Detroit. Even if we did get a win, we're still Detroit. We were still the little brothers, the whipping post, So if we can come out and punch Minnesota in the mouth and shock the NFL and show everybody that we're legit, that this isn't some get-right Detroit bullshit, that this isn't some normal pansy old organization that's just going to roll over and die at the first hint of adversity, which Dan Campbell has not let his guys do his first 2 years. All last season you've seen it gritty. We refused to give up in blowout losses. We refused to stop fighting. This season, we barely lost to Philadelphia. And then we came out and we just stuck it right in Washington's ass and just took it right to them. So what I'd love to see, perfect game script, we come out damn near the same as Minnesota, or Washington, damn near the same as Washington. We get up big and we just punch him in the mouth, dude. Just punch him in the mouth, pound him into submission, turn around, let Swifty do his thing, let Jay Willie do his thing, and you break the backs of the Minnesota Vikings. That's going to do it for me, guys. If you've got any questions, comments, compliments, or concern, go ahead and drop them down below. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on your way out the door. And we will see you guys in the next one. Hopefully we go into Minnesota and walk away with a big victory. Go Lions. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.
Trust me.